This is 500GB Xbox One, or the first model from the Xbox One series. But this Xbox is not in a good condition. Hey, what's up everyone, I'm Andrew, and in this video we're gonna restore, back in function and mod this Xbox One. Well, I got this Xbox in a verge to bad condition. From the outside, the case is full of scratches, but without some big physical damages. When I start with testing, the first what I notice is a very noisy and annoying cooling fan. It sounds like something is stuck in the cooling fan. The temperatures are becoming abnormally high after about 15 to 20 minutes of using. But however, the hardware is still fully functional. The other thing is the power supply. The power supply becoming very hot also, which is not usual for these models. And I got this Xbox with one controller. The controller cosmetically is not bad. It has some scratches, but nothing too much. And while testing, I noticed that the controller has a very weak vibration. Well, let's start and back this Xbox in function again. Also, I will make this process like a small guide in case if you have some Xbox that you want to clean or mod or do something with it. So first, I start from the back side and removing the Xbox warranty sticker. Actually, I have done this because I want to save the sticker for later and return it after I finish with all changes. Also, removing the stickers will void the warranty, but in this case, the warranty is already expired a long time ago. Well, after I take out the sticker, I move to the larger side grill with a USB port. To remove this grill, I used a plastic spudger stick. I insert the stick between the case and the grill and carefully I pull the grill up. After I remove the plastic grill, now I remove the plastic that is connecting the case. I insert the spudger stick into a hole marked with orange line and I pull the plastic. Now is coming the hardest part, and that is opening the case. This step is better to be done in a horizontal position, but I have done it in a vertical position because it's easier to record and show to you from the right angle. So first, I separate the case in the upper part in the corner by pushing the case in the opposite direction. Now, I took a flathead screwdriver and with this screwdriver, I push on the exact place where the warranty sticker was before. At this point from the inside is the clamp that is holding the case, and it is hard to release for the first time. After I release the first clamp, I continue with releasing the other plastic clamps from the back side of the case and from the other side of the case where the smaller grill is. Now I place the Xbox in a horizontal position and carefully I leave the upper case starting from the back side. Here I had to be very careful because the upper case is connected to the front case, and on the front case is flex cable that is connected to the Xbox. Well, now let's continue. So first I start with disconnecting the Wi-Fi antenna, and then I continue with removing the speaker and the Wi-Fi. Also, to disassemble the entire Xbox I used two screwdriver sizes. Both are Torx, size T9 and T10. Now I lift the metal cover up and I disconnect the cable from the Wi-Fi extension. Now I continue with disconnecting the other cables, removing the hard disk and the CD-ROM, which is very easy part. Well, now I remove the motherboard with the metal case from the bottom plastic case and I move to removing the front panel. After I remove the front panel, I move to the back side of the metal case. Here, I remove the 4 shiny screws marked with B and the other 4 screws marked with A. Now, I return to the motherboard, and here I remove the 2 plastic holders on the front side and the other holder from the back side, which has a small screw on it. Now carefully I lift the motherboard up and I remove the metal case. Now I come to the other hard part, which is releasing the metal heatsink holder. To release the holder's clamps, I used flathead screwdriver. I insert the screwdriver between the holder and the bolts from the heatsink, and carefully I turn the screwdriver, but also I pull up. Well, and basically this is it. Now I continue with separating other components, because later I will cross over a detailed cleaning process. Well, the full teardown process is complete, and now I move to the cleaning process. And first I start by cleaning the motherboard from the old thermal paste and dust. To remove the thermal paste, but also to clean the motherboard, I used a plastic spudger stick, cotton buds, 96% isopropyl alcohol, and soft brush. Now, after I finish with the motherboard, I move to cleaning the cooling fan and the heatsink. In this process, I had to open the cooling fan. I mean to separate the fan blades. It's because from the cooling fan is coming some strange noise, like scratching or cracking, and the fan blades are not spinning smooth as supposed to be. When I removed the fan blades, I found that on the top side there is some dirt with the size of grain of sand. This is happening very rarely, but it may happen with large cooling fans, especially with the game consoles. Actually, this may happen if the game console is moved around or turned on the side or upside down while the console is turned on and the fan is spinning. However, this is nothing serious and it's easy to fix it. After I finish with fixing the cooling fan, I continue with cleaning the other components, cables and parts from the inside. Well, after the motherboard and the other parts are clean, I move to cleaning the case. The case that has some electronics on it, like the front panel with a flex cable, I clean it using a brush and 96% isopropyl alcohol. The case that is without any electronics, including the metal case and the heatsink, I wash it using soap and water. Actually, this is the only way to make the case fully clean. After I wash the case and the heatsink, everything is much better than before and ready for the next steps. But first, I move to cleaning and fixing the Xbox controller and the charger. Well, first let's start with the controller. To open the controller, I used sputter stick and Torx T8 size screwdriver. The controller has 5 screws. 4 are located on the handles and the one is located under the batteries under the sticker. After I opened the controller, I found out that one of the vibration motors is desoldered, but anything other is fine. Now, I cross over a cleaning process again. I clean the controller from dust and dirt, but generally the controller is in a good condition. After I finish with the cleaning, I solder back the vibration motor. This is an easy process, because on the controller is marked where is plus and where is minus. So here the red wire is plus and the black wire is minus. Well, the controller basically is finished, and now I move on cleaning the power brick or the power supply. Opening the power supply is pretty easy. From the bottom side under the rubber butts there are 4 Torx screws with size T10. At this point, I must say a warning. This is a high-risk step. If you're going to make something like this, then never touch any of the components from the inside, like the capacitors and the other electronics, with bare hands. The capacitors may still have a high voltage, even if the power supply is disconnected from the power. Now, to clean the power supply from dust, I used a plastic brush, a longer brush which is not power conductive, and I hold the power supply on places that are not power conductive. After I clean the power supply electronics, now I move to cleaning the cooling fan from the power supply. You probably didn't know, but the Xbox power supply has a cooling fan. Well, and basically this is it. And now let's move to the last washing process. So now I wash the controller plastics and the upper case from the power supply that is without any electronics. Also, I did this because this is the only way to make them perfectly clean and prepare them for the next step. Well, and now everything is ready for the next step. And the next step is mod or painting the case. I've decided to mod paint the case because of 2 reasons. First, I really like when something is different, and the second reason is the case is full of scratches everywhere, which are very noticeable. So first, I start with removing the Xbox logo and the letters. I have done this because the logo and the letters are so small that it's impossible to protect it using paper tape or anything else. After I remove the logo and the letters, I move to protecting the front power button. To protect the touch power button, I print the button with the same size on a sticky paper. Then I cut a paper and stick it over the button. This is a touch button and must be protected from painting. Now, after I finish with the touch button, I move to removing the rubbers from the bottom side. And then I continue with protecting the serial number and the rest of the case, except the grills, because the grills are the first what I'm going to paint. Also, to protect the case, I used paper tape. Well, now let's move to the painting. For this project I used 3 different colors: Aqua Light, Normal Aqua and Aqua Dark. Actually, all sprays are shade from Aqua, and for the Xbox case I used Aqua Light and Aqua. And first I start with Aqua Light. With Aqua Light I paint all grills on the Xbox, on the top case, from the both sides and on the back side. But also with the Aqua Light I paint half of the front side, I mean the side where the touch power button is. Well, after the spray paint gets completely dry, I start with removing the paper tape. And this is it. But now I move to the next taping process. The case is ready, and now I move to painting the rest of the case. To paint the rest of the case I used Aqua Spray. But except the case, using Aqua Spray I paint one part from the power supply. Well, now the case is looking better, but somehow for me is looking pretty boring and empty, and I've decided to make one more change. So again, I cross over one more taping process. Here I protect all the grills and the front side, where I paint with the Aqua Light spray. Then using a pure white spray, I create small dots and drops over the case. Now, as a final step, I paint the upper case from the controller. But here I used the dark aqua spray. Also, over the controller case I create a small dots and drops. Now, before I start with assembling the Xbox, first I start with sticking the rubbers to the back side of the case and the Xbox logo and the letters to the upper case. And to stick all these parts I used transparent glue, which mostly is used to stick paper, plastic or wood. Well, and basically this is it. And now everything is ready for assembling. So first I start with a charger. Well, the charger is done, and now I move to assembling the controller. Well, and this is it. The Xbox controller is done. Now let's move to the Xbox. Here, first I start with assembling and lubricating the cooling fan. To lube the cooling fan I used 540 full synthetic motor oil. I put one small drop on the mid-metal part, and later one drop on the top side. Before I place the cooling fan, first I apply a fresh thermal paste over the Xbox chip. And as thermal paste I used Arctic MX4. So everything is done here, and now I can continue with fully assembling. Well, and after all changes, this is the final result. Well, now let's move to some games and testing. So first I start with detailed testing, because I want to check everything. And after making all the tests, everything is working pretty well. The hardware is fully functional, the temperatures on the Xbox and the charger are normal and pretty cool. The cooling fan is working well, and all vibrations on the controller are working well also. Also, I connect this Xbox One to my 34-inch ultra-wide monitor, because I want to see how everything will work and how the games will perform. Well, and basically this is all about this Xbox One. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I hope this video will give ideas and inspiration to back some tech in function again. Also, if you want to support my work and grow this channel, you can press the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.